It is a pleasure to be here with you today. So I'm going to admit, in the past, I have used a standard speech when I've been asked to talk about equity in education. It's usually a well-crafted marketing piece for the work that I do as the founder and CEO of Beyond 12, and our slides are awesome. But I've thrown out that speech today because the question on the table is, what's it really going to take to achieve equity? Now, normally in my standard speech, I include a call to action with specific suggestions about how we, as a college access, success, and workforce development community, can work together to fix our broken education system. But I've been doing this work for a long time, and I've come to the realization that systems achieve the outcomes they are designed to achieve. Our education system is not broken. It was intentionally built to open the path of opportunity for only a select few. It was specifically crafted to ensure that wealth, power, and influence continue to be the province of the privileged. It is not an accident that at 38 of the most selective colleges in the US, more students come from the top 1% of the income bracket than from the entire bottom 60%. It is not an accident that only 9% of students from the lowest income quartile can expect to earn a bachelor's degree by their mid-20s versus 77% of their higher income peers. It is not an accident that over the last 4 decades, income has boomed for the richest 1%, but largely stagnated for everyone else. When journalist Paul Tough spent years digging into college admissions data, what he found and wrote about in Sunday's New York Times Magazine wasn't an accident or a surprise. He discovered a system explicitly designed to preserve and to replicate privilege. In fact, all of these outcomes are inequitable by design. So to produce different outcomes, to truly achieve equity, we have to do more than prepare our young people to succeed in the system as we know it today. We have to prepare them to question that system, to deconstruct it, and to build a new one. One that is specifically, deliberately, intentionally designed to deliver equitable outcomes for all children. Okay, so if we're going to operate within the confines of an education system that we know is going to continue to produce inequitable outcomes no matter how hard we try, what does that mean for the work we all do today? So on my most cynical days, I would say, particularly when I take stock of what's happening politically and globally, let's all go home, let's go make a lot of money like my family wants me to do, and let's all give up. But luckily, you caught me on a hopeful day. My flight was okay from California. I had a good breakfast, I had coffee. I met a young woman from College Greenlight who just inspired me, so I'm fired up. The work that we do matters. So I'm going to talk to you about the work that I do. At Beyond 12, we help first-generation students thrive in college and beyond through a coaching platform that combines virtual human coaches, a campus-specific mobile app, and a back-end analytics engine that's powered by machine learning and artificial intelligence to help us predict which students need help and to prescribe the right type of support. We work in partnership with high schools, college access organizations, and colleges to help 7,000 students graduate from college, and we've collected and analyzed data about 120,000 students nationwide. And we're happy with our results. Like many of you, the students that I am honored to serve are thriving in college and beyond, and they are graduating and persisting at rates that far surpass the national average. So here's why the work we all do is still important. A college degree is still the currency of validation in our country. Since 2010, 95% of all new jobs created have gone to a worker with at least some college. If we are going to design and build a new system, we need as many new designers and new builders as possible. New architects from the groups who hail from those who weren't sitting at the table when we first created the system, and those who are still continuing to be excluded from its benefits. Children from under-resourced urban and rural communities, Black and brown children, children whose parents did not go to college or even attend high school, children with visible and invisible disabilities, children that we insist on continuing to cruelly call illegal. So many more children who make up the diverse fabric of our country. Our work is an important step toward achieving equity, but it's not enough. Not only do we need to produce new architects, but we also need to spark a movement of change makers and problem solvers who are dissatisfied with the world as it is today and who will create a new and better one. Our goal should stop being education for graduation or education for economic mobility, but rather education for liberation. As Brazilian educator Paulo Freire posited in his Pedagogy of the Oppressed, education either functions as an instrument to facilitate the integration of generations into the logic of the present system, or it becomes the means by which generations deal critically with their reality and discover ways to participate in the transformation of their world. The goal then of any successful education system shouldn't only be to prepare its citizens to lead productive lives within their current context, but to inspire them to disrupt and change it. So for me, achieving education equity isn't a philosophical or theoretical undertaking. For the kid I was 30 years ago, and for the kids whose stories and backgrounds are similar to mine, this is personal. So it wasn't a foregone conclusion that I would be standing on this stage today, or any stage for that matter, as a college graduate, an advanced degree recipient, as a social entrepreneur who has raised more than $21 million to create an organization that aspires to change the lives of millions of students annually. I am an immigrant. I was raised by my beloved grandmother, Mommy Claire, who you see in the middle there. And by the way, she's still alive. She's going to be 104. Actually, she is 104 today. I qualified for the free and reduced lunch program in high school. I am a Pell Grant recipient. I grew up in inner city Boston. English was my third language. And I am the first person in my family to go to college. I was motivated and I worked hard, certainly, and so did my family. But so much of my success depended on some very lucky breaks. Like my parents leaving their native Haiti to move to the United States in search of better opportunities for themselves and for me, their firstborn. Like my mom overhearing a conversation that a group of doctors were having at Kearney Hospital in Dorchester, Massachusetts, where she worked as a phlebotomist. They were talking about where they were sending their kids to college. I was in the 7th grade, and she came running home and said, "Okay, I got it. You have to go to this thing called an Ivy League, and you have to go to this place called Dartmouth." That's how the dream of a specific college was born. It was through that overheard conversation at Kearney Hospital, because that's where Dr. Carpina was sending his daughter. Another lucky break, the support I received when I bombed my freshman year at Dartmouth. I had 2 mentors who saw me in crisis and bound their lives and their success to mine. They made sure I had the support and the tools that I needed to thrive. But true equity shouldn't be about getting lucky. So what's it really going to take to achieve equity? It will take acknowledging and addressing the injustice that's baked into the core of our current system, but never being daunted into inaction by that knowledge. It will take having the difficult conversations that we shy away from in this space. We need to talk about race. We need to talk about white supremacy. We need to talk about the fact and the impact of race, power, and privilege on the outcomes our system is currently producing. For all of us in this room, it will mean making sure that another first-generation college graduate isn't standing on this stage 30 years from now asking the very same question about how we achieve true equity. Because we're still attempting to repair a broken system that really isn't broken. For me, it means preparing young people like these, and so many others like them, to thrive in today's world, but also preparing them to be the revolutionaries who are going to build a better world. It means inspiring them to be the new architects of our schools, our businesses, our communities, and our democracy. Achieving equity is no longer just a moral imperative. Our future actually depends on it, whether we like to admit it or not. For me, it means shifting our focus from education for graduation, education for personal mobility, to education for liberation. I hope you'll join me. Thank you.